Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 158, Just Duck's Luck. Duck is a hard-working engine and is determined to make sure everything runs like clockwork. Unfortunately, he can overwork himself sometimes, and this causes him to break down. Not only does this annoy Duck, but Sir Topham Hatt does not like this as well. "Duck," he said, "you must learn to be a really useful engine without me having to send you to the works every 6 months for repairs. Your parts are just as valuable as your passengers, and you must treat them both with respect. Otherwise, I'll have to give you less work so that you stop breaking down." Duck was sad at the situation. "I only want to do things the Great Western way," he said quietly. "But Sir Topham Hatt is right. Maybe I am overworking myself." When he returned from the works, Duck felt much better. Word had gotten out what Sir Topham Hatt had said to Duck, and the engines thought it was quite funny. "He's the only engine in Sodor's history that's been yelled at for working too hard," laughed Arthur. "If Sir Topham Hatt told me to stop working hard," said Wilbur, "I'd never move from the sheds at all. What a life!" "There are two ways of doing things," mimicked Henry. "The Great Western way, or the way that makes you break down faster than Derek with his teething troubles." "Your comments are greatly appreciated," said Duck smoothly, "but I prefer to actually earn my keep on this railway, rather than participate in Arthur's excellent discussion group here at the Brown Turntable. Goodbye." Not only was Duck cross that everyone was making fun of him, but he didn't understand why. "Fancy that," he muttered to himself. "The engines think it's funny that I break down, even if I do so while I'm working hard." "Very few engines have the work ethic that you do," said Boko as he rolled in. "Don't let their words bother you, and stick to what you're good at. Soon they'll see you as an inspiration, and they'll try to copy you instead." Duck sighed. "That will be the day," he moaned. "For now, I'm stuck shunting in the yard because Sir Topham Hatt doesn't want me to do anything strenuous. This is the life for sure." Boko chuckled. "You're a lucky duck, you know. There are a lot of engines who would rather be here than pulling heavy freight trains like myself. You'll see in no time. Sir Topham Hatt will put you back into full-time service. Savor the moment, Duck. You never know when it might come to an end." While Duck was happy that Boko was giving him wise advice, he couldn't help but feel very helpless. The next day he arrived at Elsbridge Station to check on the Little Western. Stanley was there, readying to pull Duck's usual train. "Be nice to the cars," said Duck. "They may be troublesome at times, but they're not awful." "Ugh, we'll see about that," said Stanley. He bumped them hard. "Let's go. Move it or lose it, Fred." "You must really miss not being able to work," said Oliver. "I can tell you for sure that the branch line ran a lot smoother while you were here. Stanley's a great help and all, but it's not the same, that's for sure." Seeing the Little Western and Oliver made Duck even sadder. The next weeks dragged on, and Duck was still unhappy. He was tired of the yard, and wanted to go out and see what else was going on. "Even Diesel has more work to do than me," he said unhappily. One morning his chance came. The yardmaster walked up to Duck and told him some urgent news. "Stanley forgot that brake van for this train this morning. Would you be so kind to take it for him?" "Yes, sir," said Duck quickly. Before the yardmaster realized what was going on, Duck was down and away with the car. "At last," he said to himself, "I'm free to see the island. Oh, it's been a long time." When Duck arrived at Elsbridge Station, however, he was surprised to find that Stanley wasn't there. "Did Stanley leave with my train already?" he asked Oliver. "Yeah," said Oliver. "He said right before he left that he felt like he was forgetting something, but he couldn't think of what it was." "Well, I found it," said Duck. "He'll soon remember when he asked the conductor to help him stop, and the conductor's not there. I need to go give this to him." "Let me do it," said Oliver. "You're not supposed to overwork yourself, remember?" "I guess you're right," mumbled Duck sadly. "Whoa, Oliver, look at Jeremy over there." "Wait, where?" asked Oliver. "Duck, I don't see anything at all." But before Oliver realized what had happened, Duck had quickly darted away down the line. "I'm not going to let Oliver take my job if it's the last thing I do," he said defiantly. Duck ran his usual course around the island, but still couldn't catch up to Stanley. He was quite out of breath when they stopped at Wellsworth Station to rest. Sweat poured down his face. "You look ill," said his driver. "Are you sure you're all right?" "Never better," gasped Duck. "All these weeks in the yard shunting cars have made me weak. Ugh, I'm used to sprints, pushing trucks back and forth quickly. Now I don't have any endurance." "You should probably stop," said his driver. "Stanley's an experienced engine. I'm sure he'll be fine without a brake van." Duck wheezed steam loudly. "I've come this far," he said. "I'm not going to give it up now. Hop aboard, driver, or get left behind." And Duck pulled out of the station again. But Duck's driver was right. He became very tired, and his thinking was impaired. When the signalman switched the points to make Duck go on a different line than usual, he didn't think twice about it. He realized his mistake when he arrived at the sheds. The engines looked curiously at him. "This isn't right," he muttered crossly. "Now I've gone the wrong way and lost time on Stanley." Duck only became more turned around as the day grew on. He ended up at the docks by mistake and couldn't get through because of some overturned fishing cars. "Ugh, the smell of fish is a bad one," he groaned. "We'll have to find a different way." "Are you sure you want to keep going?" asked his driver. "It's nearly evening. I'm sure Stanley has finished pulling the train anyways." "Must keep going," grunted Duck, and he puffed away. But things didn't get any better. While attempting to cross the transfer table, there was a loud clang, and it came to a screeching halt. "Don't tell me it's broken," mumbled Duck wearily. "I believe it is," said the driver, "and about time too. You need to rest." But Duck wouldn't have any of it. He backed up slowly to gain speed, and then rushed forward and somehow landed on the track in front of him. "I can rest when I'm scrapped one day," said Duck, and he continued on. He was so disoriented and confused that he passed Stanley at Knapford Station and didn't even realize it. "There's my brake van," exclaimed Stanley cheerfully. "I've been looking for that everywhere." "Where's Duck going?" asked Harvey. "He doesn't look good at all." At last, Duck finally ran out of coal in the backcountry valley. He was cold, tired, and his parts were quivering from the day's work. His driver and fireman inspected him as the sun began to set. "Not only are you out of coal," said his driver, "your brand new side rods are wearing down, there's a crack in your funnel, and your boiler needs a fresh cleaning. And that means that I'll have to go to the works again," finished Duck. "This is terrible. Sir Topham Hatt gives me a job to prevent me from going to the works, and I still find a way to mess that up." Fortunately, Percy found Duck on the line before night fell and brought him back to the sheds where Sir Topham Hatt was waiting. "Goodness me," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Duck, what on earth were you doing all day?" "Just performing duties in the yard, sir," said Duck wearily. "An engine's gotta do what an engine's gotta do." Gordon couldn't help but chuckle. "Your luck has finally run out, Duck," he said. Sir Topham Hatt didn't know what to say. "It appears no matter what job I give you, you're going to find a way to break down somehow. Quite a talent you have there, Duck. Very well. It appears that even against my best wishes, I am forced to—" "Sir," said Toby quietly, "but I think Duck is asleep." And Toby was right. Duck was so exhausted from the day's events he couldn't keep his eyes open any longer. The engines smiled at each other. "Now there's a really useful engine," said Thomas. Of course, Duck was once again sent to the works and fixed. He was gone for a while, and the engines missed his company terribly. Because of this, they worked harder than ever before, and the island of Sodor continued to be one of the most productive railways in the world. At last, Duck finally returned, and Sir Topham Hatt was the first to greet him. "Although it keeps costing me a lot of money," he said, "I can't be mad at an engine who puts his railway before himself. Welcome home, Great Western Engine." "Three cheers for Duck," shouted Edward. "Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray!" Duck was so caught up in the moment that he accidentally rolled forward and right off the track. "Duck, the Great Western Engine, you're an inspiration to us all," laughed Gordon. "I guess you could say it's just Duck's luck," chuckled Oliver, and all of the engines, even Duck himself, had to agree.